Welcome to Truth Uncovered. This isn't just another video. This is your story told in a way you've never heard before. A mirror held up to everything you've endured, everything you've transformed, and everything you've outgrown. Kez? Today we're not talking about her, We're talking about the moment she finally sees what she lost. And no, it's not bitterness. It's your breakthrough. So if you've ever loved too deeply, waited too long, or walked away with your heart still healing, this video isn't just content, it's closure. Let's begin. Point 1. She thought you'd stay the same, you didn't. There's a strange kind of comfort people find in assuming you'll never change, especially someone who once held emotional power over you. She thought you'd remain frozen in the version she left behind, the one who reacted, chased, apologized too quickly, and made space for her chaos. She miscalculated because you didn't stay the same, or transcended. She thought your silence meant you were stuck, waiting in the shadows of her indecision. What she didn't see was that your silence wasn't weakness, it was rebirth. The man she knew would have texted back, begged for closure, over-explained this version of you. He doesn't reach for someone who keeps disappearing. Why? Because you stopped looking back at a past that never looked forward with you. Pain didn't paralyze you, it shaped you. You evolved while she was busy, assuming you never would. And now she's trying to reconnect with a ghost, one she can't control, decode, or diminish anymore. The man who once belonged to her story has written himself into a new book. 2. You no longer need her to feel whole. There was a time, and you remember it vividly, when her attention felt like water in a desert, when a hey from her could change your mood for the entire day, when her validation was the mirror through which you saw your worth. But let's be honest, that wasn't love. That was emotional dependency. You mistook her crumbs for connection. You thought chasing her meant fighting for love. But in reality, you were trying to prove your value to someone who never saw it in the first place. And now, you've woken up. You've discovered a different kind of wholeness. One that's not based on who texts you, who desires you, or who misses you. This wholeness comes from solitude, from purpose, from rising every morning with direction, not desperation. When she reaches out now, there's a stillness in you, not a wall, a center. You no longer orbit her emotional highs and lows. You've built your own gravity, your own sun. And that's the moment her power collapsed. Because her influence only worked when you were unsure of who you were. Okay? Now that you've found yourself, her games no longer work. 3. You're emotionally unavailable in the right ways. She can still reach out. Maybe she does. A vague "I miss you," a fire emoji on a story, a random "How have you been?" That sounds casual, but is really a test. But here's the difference. She doesn't have access, not to the emotional version of you she used to toy with. Not to the man who opened up too easily, who overshared, who gave his energy to someone who never knew what to do with it. You've changed the locks. She used to walk through the door of your life like she owned the place. Now she finds that door has vanished. Not because you blocked her, but because the blueprint to your heart has been rewritten. And the best part? You didn't do it to prove a point. You did it to protect your peace. You recognize now when "I miss you" really means, I miss the power I used to have over you. You know what it looks like when someone tries to re-enter your life, not because they value you, but because they no longer have control. You used to live in response now. You live in alignment for. You stopped seeking closure, and that's driving her crazy. There was a time when you would have given anything for one final conversation, one clear answer, one honest "this is why I left." You stared at the screen hoping she'd type something meaningful. You replayed every conversation, trying to figure out what went wrong. But here's what you've learned. Closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. You don't need an apology anymore because silence itself became your clarity. You realized that waiting for her to explain her inconsistency was just another form of emotional captivity. And the moment you stopped asking why, that's the moment you freed yourself now. She's the one searching, not because she suddenly found your value, but because the void you left behind is louder than she expected. You're not bitter, you're just done. And that stings more than any angry message ever could. Because you didn't leave to hurt her. You left because you stopped hurting yourself. 5. She didn't lose you because you blocked her. She lost you because you rose. Growth isn't loud. It doesn't post quotes or revenge selfies, doesn't announce its arrival, just happens, silently, consistently, powerfully. She didn't lose you in a dramatic explosion. She lost you the moment you started loving yourself more than you loved the idea of her. And that's what makes this evolution so painful for her, because she always assumed she'd have emotional access to you, that she could ghost you, breadcrumb you, come and go, and you'd still be there, waiting, wounded, open. But she came back and found nothing. No RANTs, no online shades, no online shade, just silence. Because you didn't rise to get revenge. You rose to reclaim your life. And now, she isn't just dealing with rejection, she's dealing with irrelevance. 6. You're not cold, you're in control. She might tell others you've changed, that you became emotionally distant, that you're cold, that you've shut down. She might even believe that narrative herself, because it helps her avoid accountability. But here's the truth. You didn't become heartless. You became centered. You stopped reacting to mixed signals. You stopped unraveling over hot and cold energy. You stopped breaking every time someone left you on red. You didn't stop caring. You just stopped overgiving. You didn't stop loving. You just rerouted that love inward. You used to leak emotions everywhere. Now you contain them with strength, with maturity, with clarity. That's not numbness. That's mastery. Final word, this was never about her. It was always about you. Let this truth settle deep. You didn't evolve to impress her. You didn't grow so she'd regret losing you. You didn't become stronger so you could post, "Look what you missed." Selfies. This was never about revenge. This was always about rebirth. The truth is, she never truly understood you. She never saw the depth beneath your quiet, the strength behind your patience, or the love behind your loyalty. And now she never will, because the version of you who tolerated confusion, emotional games, and half-love, it's gone. You didn't change overnight. You changed because the pain demanded it. Because that old version of you couldn't carry the weight of your future. You've stopped shrinking to fit broken spaces. You've stopped over-explaining your worth. You've stopped begging to be understood by someone who is never willing to understand herself. And that, my friend, is the moment you became unreachable. So if this message hits something deep inside you, if you've ever loved too much, lost yourself in the process, and finally stepped back into your own light, then comment below. I don't chase, I evolve. Because the second you stopped needing her was the moment she realized she lost the man she never truly understood.